the administration is doing enough?
No, the state administration is not doing enough. I'm not pleased with Governor Mike DeWine, who actually drunk some of the water, giving people confidence that that water is okay, when in fact that EPA didn't do the deepest dive that they can do to deal with the carcinogens that are there, the air, the water. No, and when I went there, then I saw both fear and anger in the eyes of the people there. I had a local guide, his name is John. He grew up in and around that area, and also Jess. And I got a chance to talk to some of the people. And one lady that I talked to, she said, I never want to see another vehicle carrying chemicals come through my community again. And so while you have some on the GOP side saying less government, you have the residents of East Palestine saying that government is not doing enough. And they have been, not just them, they have been failed by subsequent many administrations. It's not just the Trump administration, it was the Obama administration, now it's the Biden administration. So now we have the facts, they're out there. The NTSB said this could have been avoided. The thing is, what are we going to do to solve the short-term and the long-term needs of the people?
Yeah, that was my stunt double on Sunday on CNN's State of the Union, asking the very pivotal questions about what are we, the collective we, meaning the federal government and the state government, going to do to provide relief for the residents of East Palestine, both in the short term and in the long term. And also I would like to add, what are they gonna do to make Norfolk Sutherland bounce? Because they need to bounce really, really hard. And it is totally abhorrent, as I said on that show, that anyone would say that these people are getting what they deserve. The hell they are catching is really similar to the hell that other working class and poor people catch all over this country, whether it is Flint, Michigan, or Cleveland, Ohio, or Jackson, Mississippi, you name it. If you are poor and or of the working class, this system is not working for you. It is systemic failure, and it is about corporate greed. Take a look at what else she had to say.
Neoliberals who say that the residents of that area deserve what they are getting because they voted for President Donald J. Trump, it is abhorrent. This is about poverty. This is about poor working class white people who are enduring some of the same things that poor working class black people endure, whether it's Flint, Cleveland, or Jackson, Mississippi. And so I want to lay it out. The cultish behavior in politics right now, it is a sin and a shame that when people are suffering to this magnitude, you got people who will fix their mouths, to quote my grandmother, to say that they are getting what they deserve. What they deserve is clean air, clean food, clean water. They deserve relief, both in the short term and also in the long term.
Yeah, she said that, and she actually did that, and I believe in everything that she just said. And it is definitely time to call out neoliberals like Joe Behar, who has a platform, and she did fix her mouth to say the following.
Who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district, Donald Trump.
Now, she never lets the truth get in the way of a good story. As I mentioned before, the people of East Palestine have been failed by several administrations. And even if, and shame on President Donald J. Trump, he did come strutting in there. And he knows that he rolled back the Obama rules, he did. But even if those rules had been in place, which they should have been in place, and if Trump was truly a populist instead of a faux populist, he would have went even further than President Obama. But he didn't do that. He rolled it back and then had the pure, unadulterated gall, or more nerve than the brass a monkey, as my grandmother would put it, to go on and stroll himself on back into East Palestine. He did do that. But multiple things can be true all at once. The Biden administration ultimately sided with lobbyists and did not go as far as they should have went, meaning that the train, the type of chemicals that were on that train that derailed in East Palestine would not, even under the Obama rules, have been called on. It would not have been adhered to the harshest of the rules and regulations, because those have been softened because of, guess what, the owner donors. So Crystal Ball was just as passionate about this as I was, and she were calling them out, the blatant indifference that some folks have because these people actually voted for Donald J. Trump. They did, that is irrefutable. But before then, they were Reagan Democrats. I wonder what the neoliberals would say if they knew that. You know, it really boggles my mind that people's qualification for somebody showing them humanity is now contingent upon who they voted for or who they did not. America, we need our soul checked. We really do. We need our soul check. But this Crystal Ball was as passionate as I was, and she laid it out. Take a look at what she had to say.
actually hear the View audience gasp and boo because they are so shocked, she would take this opportunity to scold these suffering Americans for their political choices. But you know what? I'm actually kind of glad she said it. I'm glad she revealed the ugly core of this type of snide liberalism. After all, her sentiment, it's not a new one. I saw it expressed on Twitter. I saw it hinted at by the analysts who dismissed the positive reception of Trump's visit because this was, quote, Trump country.
Yep. They did, and they're still spewing that stuff. I see it on my social media timeline time and time again. But you know what? They say out of the mouths of babes. We're gonna put up a tweet from Little Miss Flint. I remember meeting her several years ago when the Sanders campaign first went down to Flint, Michigan to deal with their water crisis. And this is what she had to say on Twitter about what is happening. Mari, that's her name. Why would you want to help East Palestine, Ohio? And she responds, because regardless of race or socioeconomic status, nobody should have to face a preventable environmental disaster. Clean water is a necessity. And Team Mari, Ohio water crisis, she knows a lot about that when she was much, much younger than she is right now. Flint was facing a water crisis, and all of this happened at the hands of a state government that was indifferent to that poor and working class community that is mostly African American. So here we have Mari. Look, I still want to call her Little Mari, but we got Mari laying it down as to why they should be helped. And then obviously my stunt double had to jump in here just one more good time. Did you vote for Trump? You deserve clean air, food, and water. Did you vote for Biden? You deserve clean air, food, and water. Did you not vote? You deserve clean air, food, and water. Human rights are human rights. David Shuster, what say you about these declarations?
Senator Turner, look, the human rights are human rights. That's as simple as it gets. And it gets to look, we all are human beings. There's a common humanity, regardless of your political perspective, regardless of your perspective, regardless of your experiences in life. And so kudos to you for calling out Joey Behar for it, but also for keeping this issue alive, because it's very easy in most of our mainstream media to forget about this. So kudos to you and Unbossed and even to CNN for talking about this. There are two main issues here. The first is what can be done in the short term to help these people, and what can be done in the long term to prevent this from happening again. The short term, I think, is actually a lot easier, because it's a lot easier to give a lot of money to fix a water system, to help people move and relocate if in fact Norfolk Southern does the right thing and pays up. That's the first thing. The longer term, in terms of how we keep these chemicals from rolling through some of these communities on bad tracks and on bad actors, I'm not sure how that gets solved without some greater bipartisanship in Washington. But I'm optimistic the short term can get solved if in fact Norfolk Southern and some others actually step up.
Yeah, I am too, David. And I hope that grassroots people, both on the media side, independent media side that we're on, and others continue to lift this up. And it is a unique opportunity for independent media. Again, big ups to the lever